All right, we're back again for another exciting show. I've got someone that I met back in St. Louis, been around the soccer game probably his whole life. We're going to find out more. I met him when he was with St. Louis FC as the vice president and general manager. He's now the managing director at Chattanooga FC. How are you, Jeremy? Jeremy Alumbaugh. Did I say
I'm
that
good.
right?
Close enough. It's been said better. It's been said worse. So we're good. I'm doing well. You said exciting, so that puts a little pressure on me. But
Let's go, man. Come on.
yeah, let's do it. Good to catch up.
Yeah, no. I didn't know your complete background. So why don't you kind of just walk us through that real quick? You know, where you've been, kind of where you started.
Sure. In order for it to make sense, I got to go way back, but I'll try not to go too deep. But I grew up in a small town in Illinois. My dad was a high school coach and eventually became an administrator. But the reason I think I got to tell people that is soccer was the main sport in the town. There was no high school football. So our homecoming parade, everything was based around soccer. So I think that's where like my love and my passion really came into play. And then from there, like everybody else, high school soccer, club stuff, ended up going to play at the University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh. Was up there, was a secondary education major. Both my mom and dad were in education. I remember calling my dad and telling him I was switching my major from business to education. He laughed because he said, I told you you were going to coach and teach. And that was my plan. And then did my student teaching and realized I didn't want to be in a classroom every day. I enjoyed coaching too much. So stumbled into an opportunity at Missouri State, now Missouri State University, but was Southwest Missouri State at the time, to be a graduate assistant there. Did that, had some great success, NCAA tournaments, started a little club in Springfield, Missouri, kind of got interested in the business side a little bit of running the club. From there, got married, moved to Chicago, and I worked for Chicago Magic, which was a really high-profile elite youth club. But that's really, really where I got my business kind of background because, we were a business as a youth club. Usually youth clubs are about keeping people happy and, winning, a little bit. But ours, we were a business and we were owned as a for-profit business. And we still cared about winning. We still cared about, keeping people happy. But we had an owner that we had to report to. So I kind of got a PhD, I'd say, in like youth elite sports a little bit during that time. We won a lot of championships. It was fun. From there, my wife got pregnant. We decided we want to be, closer to family with a little one coming and all that. So I ended up back in Springfield, Missouri, and there were a couple of clubs there that emerged together, and they were just kind of directionless. So I took over as the director of soccer operations there, did some pretty cool business things along that way with them. From there, a chance to go to St. Louis to, work at a higher level club. And again, got put on the management team, got even more business, kind of sports business experience. And then, when you and I first ran across when you came to town and a little bit after that, we made a decision as a management team that if we really wanted to try to pursue our mission statement, which was to be the best club in the country on and off the field, and a club that cares about our community, we needed something at the top end of the pyramid. So we purchased a USL franchise, and nobody else in the management team raised their hand to be the GM. So I said, screw it, I'll do it. And,
How long did it take to regret that one?
About 6 weeks. But no, it was fun and has worked with some really great people there, but that's my story. And then came here to Chattanooga in December of 2019. So it's, been a different road than maybe some other people, but every step has been a really good step, and it's your dumb luck or doing something right.
Well, what was it like though, going from, youth and club soccer to being the VP and general manager of a pro club?
I got to eat dinner with my family. Of course, it was still at like 6:30. But when you when you're in the youth elite sports or youth sports, you're on the field from 5 to 10 every night. So you don't eat you eat dinner with your family. So that was one thing, but it was different not being, around kids and seeing grow, but, you start working with interns and you see them grow and you see like entry-level staff make that big first sale or, the first time where a assistant coach goes out and finds a good player, a diamond in the rough that you end up signing. So you still see that growth and such, but it was a change from being on the field coaching every night, not having, you have interactions, at this level with players, but it's not the same as, a 13 or a 17-year-old kid deciding where to college is still different.
Right.
So there was a lot of adjustments that had to be made, but at the end of the day, it's still about relationships. It's about helping build people and trying to achieve goals, just in terms it's, different, sales and attendance and all that, as opposed to wins and losses. I mean, that's a big part of it too, but so it was a change, but I think all the steps, again, being in Chicago and in Springfield, allowed me to be ready for it. And I never thought this is what I was going to end up doing, or I never planned for this to be what I was going to end up doing, but I kind of did some steps along the way to, give me a chance.
Funny how things just pop up, and, kind of, you got to pivot sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
When you were with St. Louis FC, were you still doing any roles with, the youth club at that point?
So Pat Barry and myself, we were dumb enough to think that we could still coach and run a pro team. And a lot of that is because, when we got in the USL, and you're familiar with it, from the indoor stuff, when they had, the indoor, and it started out and it was like that big of a commitment. And then quickly the league blew up, right? And it was a huge commitment. So the first year and a half, I was still coaching 2 youth teams and a little bit of involvement in the youth side. And the first 6 months, Pat was coaching the team. And then we both just looked at each other, probably over a beer, and said, what are we doing?
Many beers.
Yeah. But it wasn't, it was just, the league changed, and the requirements and the type of ownership groups that got involved just blew it open. And so, yeah, we initially we were, but then we quickly realized we got to change course if we want this thing to get where we think it could.
Yeah, I mean, I look back. I mean, I was trying to put a USL team in St. Louis at the same time. I don't have the cash. So, I was looking for, investors and working through it. And I look at it where it was like there and maybe the year prior to where it is now. And it's like, how the hell does that even happen? I mean, it's crazy with, how much the franchise fees have gone up, how much it is to operate. And I remember, I mean, you guys did it right. I mean, I came out to your first press conference there, and, I mean, you guys are the biggest club, if not one of the biggest, in a pretty good radius. So, I knew that you guys would have some success there, and you guys did. You guys were lighting it up. When you were working on that, were you kind of over like sales as well? Did you have to get into like sponsorship sales and tickets? Was that kind of new stuff for you, or did you have a little bit of experience with that?
I'd say a little bit of it. And that's where Pat, he had time with the previous indoor, groups in St. Louis. So he had some background and he helped guide us along. But our original team, I mean, we had like 5 full-time people, and everybody wore, it was light. We wore a lot of hats. And then, as we were able to have more revenue and the league grew, we knew we had to keep up with everything. But, so initially, I mean, the first jersey sponsor was myself and Kevin Wygant, Pat Barry, trying to figure out to do that, working with the people at Mercy to get that done. So it was a lot of sales calls, a lot of, going to meet and greets with the Lewigans and drinking beers with different people, trying to get people to understand we're going to do this the right way. So there was a lot of sales that went into it. And then our sales, our initial sales staff, I think we had a team of 3, and then it became 4, and then an intern became 5. And it's still, pretty small staff when I left. But you got a lot of good experience along the way. And, I told everybody initially my job was like 60-40 on the business side, those first couple of years. And then when we started bringing in more and more, and from a staffing standpoint, it flipped. It'd be more 60 on the sports side and 40 on the business side. And I was spending more time with the academy, and we had a PDL team for 2 years. We got forced into that decision. It wasn't the smartest thing we ever did. Not that there's anything wrong with PDL or League 2, but for us, it just didn't, it was weird. But
it takes away your time and money.
It does. It's a grind, and it's a great league, and I love it. I've coached in it, and but it's hard. But I got a lot of good experience in those first couple of years, and then always staying involved. That was a big thing that we did. We had great leadership, and we had a good group that really interacted with each other, and a lot of collaboration. I think that's a big thing in sports that I wasn't prepared for. Is everybody talks about, reporting lines and direct reports, and the best places I've been is just it's pretty flat. I mean, at the end of the day, look, it's on somebody's shoulders, but being able to throw ideas out and have conversations and, spitball ideas over coffee or beers, whatever time of day it is, and that's where the best things come out. So it was a lot of fun.
And it's sometimes good just to get kind of thrown into the fire, and, learn as you go. And every market, every situation is different. I'm sure as you're getting into Chattanooga there, you're noticing some differences in that market that, from St. Louis. So, grinding that out, feeling it out, and then getting good people, is key. When you just recently went to Chattanooga, what was kind of the driving force there? Like, what made that an appealing spot to go to?
It's a great question, and I've answered a few times from people, but I think, like I said, I've never had a plan. Like, by the time I'm 45, I got to do this, or 50, whatever. I'm not 50 yet, but I didn't have a plan that way. It was just, when good opportunities have popped up, I've tried to take advantage of them. And, for me, the next step in St. Louis, I was a VP, like you said, in GM, and we had a great staff. But at the end of the day, there was always a president. And Pat and I built that thing, side by side for 5 years. But at the end of it, there was always somebody else I could ask their opinion, or the final decision, could rely with somebody else. And it was time for me to venture out on that. And then the other thing is, being in St. Louis, and you've been there, and I've heard you talk with different people about it, but it's a unique community, and it's a really tight community. It's a big city. It's hard to find, I think, a soccer club, professional soccer club, that really wants to be a part of the community in a real, true, honest way. Usually there's a motivation of ticket sales or partnerships, and that's important, but really wanting to be there and see kids' faces light up when you do an appearance, and you guys at the Ambush, you killed it with those, with those things. And, and really find a group that wants to be involved in the community and stands for something. And Chattanooga FC stands for a lot of the things that I believe in. So when I got a note on LinkedIn about this opportunity being open, it was, not too far from home, or from St. Louis, from the Midwest. It's definitely in the South, which has been fun to,
Warmer.
to,
I like it.
and to live that. But it was a good next step, and great people, a great city. And it was just a good step for me to take that next leap in my leadership and see if I can run a club that's making a big jump from amateur to pro. And there's a lot of interesting dynamics here, but it was just more about the opportunity. And then the people that I work with on a daily basis here are unbelievable. And that's what I had in St. Louis. So I was looking for something similar, and there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, no, it definitely, I've been watching Chattanooga FC for, since I was in St. Louis, because we had the arena football team in St. Louis. Well, one of our teams that we would play was from Rome, Georgia, or Dalton, Georgia.
Yeah, just down the road.
Down. Yeah. And so he was always sending me like pictures. He would go to games, and some of those games, man, they'd have like bigger than like MLS teams. It's crazy. And so we were always he's like, see, we need a team in this market. I was like, well, it doesn't necessarily mean, other sports will do well, or even other teams for that matter. I mean,
right.
You like in the city now, I saw there was another team, the Red Wolves or something like that. And just because there's, another team there doesn't mean they're going to have that same success. I mean, it takes a lot of things falling in place by, a lot of good people working on it. So tell me how that is kind of coming into a market that does have like two teams. So, I mean, no matter how you look at it and however you spin it, it's competition for each of you. So like, how do you work with that and work around that? I know Chattanooga FC's been there longer, has a lot more history. But what are the differences really? What do you guys offer?
Yeah, I think that was another reason why I took the opportunity. It's a challenge. Around the world in soccer, most cities our size are going to have 2, 3, 4, 5 clubs, right? Yeah. So this is real, and yeah. We don't play against each other, right now, unless we've, faced off in the Open Cup at some point. But this is real because there's allegiances and alliances, however you want to say it, and challenges. So it's another, for me, I took it as a growth opportunity, and I really believe in what this group is doing and how they've gone about it and how they put it together and how we're trying to make that jump from an amateur, summer ball to full-time pro. So it was a big challenge. How do I view it? I kind of made the decision from day one. I don't follow them on social media. I wasn't here when everything happened. So for me, it's it wasn't as emotional as maybe it was for some other people of how it went down. I respect them and the fact that they have a model they're trying to go after. We're just trying to be true to what this group has done since 2009. We play in the city. We play in an unbelievable stadium and area. It's got bars and restaurants around it. It's got a real game day vibe and atmosphere. They play out in the suburbs, and it's different, right? So we get a little bit more of that crowd, and they get a little bit more of that. But I heard on one of your earlier podcasts, I don't think we compete with them, and I don't think we compete with the Lookouts, a baseball team who we have a great relationship with. We're competing with Amazon and the mountains and the river and everything, Netflix. So we got to take care of ourselves, and if we do that, we're going to give ourselves a good opportunity to make this jump. But it's a challenge, and you have to be aware, and it keeps you on your toes. And I'm a competitor, and I want to win the fight, and I want to come out on top. So it's fun, and it's a really unique opportunity.
Yeah, and I think if you focus on you're fine. I think when you get focused on somebody else or something else, and you get out of what works for you, then that's when it's trouble. So it's good that you guys have, such a rich history with it, coming in. So I think that'll definitely help. And, it's been great to see those videos and everything with the club now. Managing director, I know that, I don't know if they do under the umbrella now, but I thought they used to have youth and maybe a women's team. Is all that as well? And are you over pretty much everything or just the pro club?
Yeah. So how it's set up is we have a board of directors, which is the majority owners and the founding members of the club. And so I report directly to them and our chairman. And then within our whole umbrella, so we have the first team, the men's team, and that's my day to day, right? That's 80% of my day is with them. We also have a youth academy. And then we have within our foundation, we have two separate pieces of our foundation, Chattanooga Sports Ministries, which is more like neighborhood based in terms of like programming and making sure kids are getting opportunities to play the game and to get life lessons, and a great group there. And then the other piece of our foundation is Operation Get Active, which does the same thing, keeping kids active, getting them off the couch, providing opportunities for kids that maybe wouldn't get it. And that's through the schools. So you've got the first team, we've got our foundation, we've got our academy. We don't have a women's team currently. It's something that we're looking very hard at. In fact, I got another Zoom call, imagine that, tomorrow with our group.
Zoom's great.
Oh, man, you get a lot done about getting that put back together for 21. So we're working hard on that. Obviously, COVID threw a big wrench into those plans, but I think we can get close to bringing that back, and that'll be more of the summer ball 3-month type season. So yeah, I'm involved in all those pieces. I'm on the board for the academy and work hand in hand with our foundation. My management team that I have in play is somebody directly involved with the board, somebody from the foundation, and somebody from my day-to-day staff. And we meet every Monday to kind of talk about everything that's going on in the club, even though we're not making decisions in all those areas, but we're getting feedback with what's going on. We also do a big family call once a month where everybody in the whole CFC family, people that work at Highland Park Commons, which is a really cool facility tied into our foundation, CSM, Academy, OGA, and First Team. And the First Team head coach is on there, and we're all on there, and we're making sure everybody in the family knows what's happening. And it's a really unique organization. Yeah, so it provides a lot of good ideas and just a lot of cool things, especially for our partners, because for our partners, it can give them, on the corporate side, access into a lot of different pieces of our community. And maybe they want this with the first team, but they really want to help the foundation with this. So they can get a lot of crossover and a lot of good stuff. So it's been awesome, man.
So what kind of stuff are you bringing to the club as far as like ideas or what, any changes that you plan to, put in place?
For sure. The big thing is trying to help with fatigue because for 10, 11 years, these guys operated a club that was like, it was a sprint from May to the 1st of August, right? Because it was mainly college players, summer ball for them and the NPSL. And then last year they did, even though they were still amateur, they did an extended season that was about 10 months. So more like, what we're doing in NISA and USL does and MLS does. And when I got here, I could tell people had hit the wall. I was here for my interview in October. And then when I started talking with people, and that was fans, staff, board members, owners, it was a long year. So I'm trying to get them to understand the peaks and valleys of, because I went through it in 2015, right? Trying to understand the peaks and valleys, and it's okay to take a half day on Friday, knowing that you're going to work, 18 hours on Saturday if you got everything done, right? Or, trying to help them with that. And then I think just some structure in terms of our sales. Because it was such a short season, they've always had an awesome season ticket base. But then again, fatigue, right? So now I can commit to 3 months, and if I miss, 2 games out of the 8 home games, it's not a big deal. But now you're asking me to commit from February to October. That's a big commitment. So bringing in things like flex packs and just trying to show some other ideas that, I steal from people and we use in St. Louis to try to help with that. So
those are the best.
Stealing that, trying to bring some ideas to help us make sure that we can maintain everything. And, we got to get groups going here. So we're working hard on that. And they've done a great job. It's an unbelievable base, but now we're just trying to take it to that next step. So bring in some of my experiences and, just trying to bring in some good people.
Are you guys using any kind of technology stuff on the sales side to help out with things, any CRMs or other ticketing platforms?
Yeah. So we're, Chattanooga is like a big hub and like innovation setup. And a lot of our board members have been in that world. So we're, we use, especially now with remote, we use Slack within our team. We use that a lot. We're a Google company, so we use a lot of Google stuff that way. We use a company based out of Ireland called Float, FLOWTE, as a ticketing company. So we use a lot of stuff. They have a CRM built within there.
Oh, nice.
Text Request is a company that we use, another local company, in terms of, trying to build our database, trying to, touch base with our annual pass members, our partners, things that way. So that's the gist of it in terms of those platforms. And we're going to, start to expand. I think that's been one of the good things maybe about COVID is just having time to jump on webinars because you're not getting ready for a game day and stuff. Right. So we've had, some great stuff from, I know guys that you use on the Free Agent Friday squad, some different ones. So we're just trying to, take a look, and I'm trying to figure out what do we need? What can we handle? What do we have the manpower to work with? And then put some things into play, for the rest of 2020 and 21. But so far we've been pretty happy with what we have.
What kind of size staff are you going to have when you're all built out for your side of things, the pro team?
I'm trying to continue that Pat Barry way of doing things and being really small.
Just 1 or 2 people?
No. So we have myself, and then we have a chief marketing officer who also handles our in-game production in the stadium. We have an unbelievable stadium that we play in, and then really trying to take our streaming to the next level. So his background is in that. So our we did a TV game for our first game back, local TV, and then our guys did a stream, and we pushed them to upgrade it, and they came through with flying colors. So we're really excited about that. We have a director of ticketing operations who also oversees our camp administrative piece. We have a manager of corporate partnerships and group experiences. So she does a lot of the fulfillment side of partnerships, but she's also selling. And then she's also doing the group, whether it's corporate group or a typical youth group set up there. And then we have a lead designer and content producer that handles that. And that, from the business side, that's our full-time staff. And then we have, I want to call them part-time, but that's not fair. They're just those people that work 40 hours a week with their one job, and they work 45 for us. So we have a communications director. We have a CFO that works with our part-time accounting person. And then we have our game day operations who works in our foundation, so he can pull away when he needs to, and he runs our game day ops. And man, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. But it's a good young, talented staff. Oh, yeah. Where we're different and where we've got to get to is we don't really have a true ticketing team. So because again, that 3-month season, it was easy to kind of take care of everybody, and there wasn't a lot of the stuff that you get with that longer one. So like today, me and 3 other people, we were just contacting all of our annual pass members. Hey, here's your choices for 2020. Hope you enjoyed the game on TV over the weekend. Just building those relationships. But we will be building out that side of our staff here in 2020 and heading into 21.
And are you the main partnership seller?
Yeah, myself and Catherine will be doing the majority of it. A lot of our partners have been with the club since 2009. So it's about, building those relationships as a new person coming in, asking them, of course, to expand their partnership with us because now we're in a national league and all those things. But so we still get a lot of assistance from the founding members of the club, but the majority of it is myself and Catherine going out and doing that. And I think that's the direction we'll probably stay because I see a lot of growth. As soon as we can start to open up doors again with fans, I want to get that and maybe some potential other roles down the road as well.
When you're playing the full season for the pro, how many games will that be roughly at home?
18.
Nice.
Yes. 18 like guaranteed, and then maybe you got cup competition and playoffs, but yeah, it's a long season.
That's what I like about outdoor pro soccer is compared to indoor. Indoor, we have 10 to 12 games. It's not a big season to sell. So to justify, $150,000 partnership or 75 was, some of our big deals in St. Louis. It's hard when you only have that. So I always, and then I switched to baseball and you have 70 home games in minor league baseball. And, the average size deal just is almost double. And you would think it would be more, but we're able to really maximize on that small season. And, I've always said that if you can get into that 20 to 30 range, it's almost perfect because you're not going to get your body murdered by working, every day. And you can sell it, it's more eyeballs. It's more impressions. So that's 18 is definitely good because you'll probably mix in exhibitions or something.
Yeah, we'll get a couple of, cup competitions and ideally, hopefully playoffs, right? And some of those things. But obviously 2020 is going to look a lot different. We're in a independent cup competition right now that's given us some home dates right now, closed door, but that should be changing hopefully as we head into the fall. But I'm with you. I think if we can get close to that 20 range overall, you can really provide a lot of good, assets and opportunities for partners. And the big thing for us here is we're on TV. I mean, there's news reporters at training. Our coach does a press conference on Tuesday, and they're there reporting it. And we got,
That's awesome.
2 newspaper, 1 online, 1 traditional paper, and we're the show. And I would say it's the same for, the lookouts as well on the baseball side, but we're able to gain a lot of attention, which is great for our partners when, back behind them is the backdrop and it's not just on game day because we get a lot of attention. So it's good.
I think that was a tough thing in St. Louis, at least for us. I mean, you guys got probably a little bit more, but I mean, as big as either team was, we're still small fish, in the pond. Whereas Chattanooga, you're legit the big fish there, right, which is great. I mean, and Chattanooga is big enough though that there's enough companies and corporations that you can pull that corporate money. So, that's the challenge when you go into not a major league market is making sure there's enough corporate dollars, and there definitely is in Chattanooga. But let's talk a little bit about indoors. Oh, one question about Chattanooga does Dwayne Laidley play there? Is he training with you guys?
Yeah, he's with us. Yep.
Okay. He played a couple years, maybe an indoor with me down in Florida. So we called him Wheezy. I don't know if he goes by that up there, but
that fouled him up here.
Yeah. He was fast.
He's quick. He does a good job, and he's good off the field with fans. And I mean, at this level, that's a huge piece of it, right? Is they want that engagement and interaction. And he's awesome, and he brings a little spark off the bench with his pace and athleticism. But he's just always smiling, always being in a good mood. There's something to be said for that too.
Yeah, I was trying to get him to play last year. I kind of took over as GM of the Orlando indoor team, and I was trying to get him to finish out the season or play until he went up there to train, but he said he wants to stay focused there. I said, do that then. But no, it's good. So with your dad being a coach, did you just always remember soccer then? Or was there a time specific, I can't even talk specifically, that you were like, man, I like soccer?
From the get-go. I mean, we used to go to Chicago Sting games and the NASL, way back in early 80s and stuff when we lived up by Chicago. And I was a ball boy at the high school games. That was a big deal, when you were in elementary school. And again, the town, all the farmers quit farming, at 3:00 so they could come and watch the game, especially playoff time. Yeah. Homecoming parade, it was it. And then my dad also when he started becoming an administrator and didn't coach high school anymore, coached me in club, but he also ref college, and he would drag me with him to college games on the weekend because it was free babysitting, right? I could go to NIU or Judson, the colleges he would ref at, and just hang out and juggle and watch games and walk around campus and see what a campus was like. So it was it. Played basketball, a little bit through 8th grade and some such that way. I've become huge hockey guy, like massively into hockey. And, I'd say the last probably 7 or 8 years, being in St. Louis and a little bit in Wisconsin, got exposed to it a little bit there, but really just the last 10 years being in St. Louis, as it's a huge hockey town, and it's massive there. But yeah, it's always been soccer and that passion, and it's just, it runs deep. I mean, all my brothers, and my daughter doesn't play, which is all right with me because I really don't want to sit out in the rain and the cold like my dad and mom did.
How old's your daughter now?
She's 15, so she's a sophomore volleyball player, and she loves it here so far, and we're excited to make it our home. So yeah, it's been good.
That is. So when did you get to your first indoor soccer game? You told me you were a little bit of an indoor fan.
I'm no Brian Roth.
Can you challenge him in a indoor soccer Jeopardy or something like that?
I think you'd have to get Steve Petcher or somebody on there who played and knows more than Brian, but
I don't know if anybody does. That dude is out of
control. It's a little scary. So he's out of control. It's a little scary. We played it as a kid, right, in Illinois, because winter comes in October and you can't play outdoors anymore. So I remember the first indoor place we played at in St. Charles, Illinois. One side was ice hockey and the other side was soccer. And the dasher boards were just the low level dasher boards, at the halfway line and indoor or whatever. But then the end lines was chain link fence above the dasher. So that was crazy. And then I think the first pro game I went to was a Chicago Power game at the Horizon at the time it was. And then, went to a ton of your guys' games, and even before that, the Steamers, the second version of the Steamers in St. Louis. But I'm, Milwaukee Wave as well. At college, we used to go watch a lot of those games, and some guys I played with when they would graduate would go play with them. And I'm a bit of an indoor junkie. I don't know if I should say that anymore out loud, but I love it, man.
I think it's an awesome game just because I'm not a traditional, so I wasn't in soccer my entire life. So I played outdoor up until maybe high school. And then, I went to Hershey Impact, games. Yeah. They were only around for a year or two. And I remember when I went to the USL meetings, my first meeting when I bought the St. Louis team, and they, they all were like, yeah, we didn't want to vote you in because you're not a soccer guy. And then probably midway through the season, they're like, okay, this guy leads the league in fines for bashing the refs and everything else. So,
and that first, you had to be up there in attendance too, that first year.
Yeah, that first year was, some of those guys were blowing those numbers up, but I know revenue-wise, nobody beat us. We did really well. It was tough because our team didn't compete well on the floor. That first year, I think we won 4 games. So that was tough, but that just shows you how good St. Louis is. We maintained somewhat. We dropped off, I'd say probably 20% over the 3 years, maybe 25. But yeah, you got to compete somewhat, at least be competitive,
right?
And get through there. So no, it was awesome. But I remember you telling me, so you have better places for me or for an indoor team to go. So I want to hear what your ideas are on the top few cities to put a team.
Now you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
I do agree with what Brian said in terms of Wichita. The only difficult thing in Wichita, I think, is they already have hockey. And then obviously Wichita State basketball has just blown up in the last 10 years. But I do think that passion, that they support all their sports really well. And now minor league baseball is there. So maybe I got to knock them off the list. But I still think it could be a good spot. I love some of the southern cities that you were mentioning, way back, there used to be a summer indoor league. I think it only lasted 2 years, but the EISL and, Tallahassee had a team, and my buddy played there, Pensacola, and he did really well. But the group you had just south of Memphis, I think you mentioned.
Yeah. South Haven, Mississippi. It's literally right over the border.
15, I think 20 minutes. I think that's a good one. Dalton, to be honest, the one that you mentioned, unbelievable soccer area. and it's far enough away from Chattanooga where people would view that team as their own, but Chattanooga people would maybe go and see it because it doesn't snow here, but so it gets cold enough where you want to go do something indoors and there's nothing else. So I think Dalton's got a little bit of something there. I don't know what they have from an arena standpoint.
It's not much,
but you know, you can make almost anything into a decent arena if it's got something. I don't know. Those are a few others. What have you thought about it anymore since you and Brian talked?
I forget what I told him, but I mean, I like Atlanta because it's so big. I mean, you like you said, in other countries, there's multiple teams in a city, and I just realized that like in the last 2 months, to be honest with you, I was like, why are there so many teams in like the London area? And you're talking just different pockets of London, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I could see Atlanta because for some people getting to an Atlanta United game, it's either hard because they sell out, right? And it's just
crazy.
It's crazy. Or traffic. So if there's an entertainment opportunity that I don't have to travel to the Hawks or the other one, and soccer is such a big part of Atlanta culture, I think there could be, you know, some good little pieces there. Another one that has minor league hockey as well, is a huge tradition of soccer, is Evansville, Indiana. And their
nice arena.
Yeah, and their college basketball has really kind of dropped compared to maybe what it used to be.
Yeah, I remember as a kid it was pretty solid.
They have a huge history of soccer as an important piece there. I think it could be a good, you know, place for an outdoor team at some point. You know, at the lower levels, they couldn't survive in championship, but because again, it gets cold there. They have the hockey team, so the arena's set up. You got some opportunities. I think that could be a good one too.
The other one I was looking at is Savannah, Georgia. They, first of all, Savannah is a pretty sweet place. I mean, it's just a cool city, right on the coast. And they're building like $150 million new arena right now. And there's no pro sport in Savannah. They have like a collegiate wooden bat league baseball team.
Yep.
But that's it. Now, my wife told me that she's going to divorce me if I do another team. So I'm most likely not going to unless she pisses me off. But she doesn't listen to these, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Or you find a good little group of some people to get together and do it. But, I mean, and look now, like you have to be boots on the ground. I mean, you know that you've had teams. But now the amount of work that we're all learning how to get done remotely, it's amazing.
No, exactly. I'd like something, though, that's a drive, you know. Mm-hmm. 6 hours or less, and you can go for half the week, you know, or whatever. I think that's, you know, my ideal thing. And hopefully as I start doing some consulting, that's kind of the same parameters, is something I can drive to, go 2, 3, 4 days and maximize it. Because even in St. Louis, you know, I had the arena football team too. The whole first year I did it remotely. I lived in Florida the whole time. I would come up once a month.
Yeah.
And I wasn't using Zoom or anything else because I didn't start using Zoom until COVID hit. So
I don't think too many people were using Zoom until COVID hit. And now it's become a 4-letter word for everybody.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I like it because I can maximize my time instead of driving to meetings. I still like the in-face stuff, but this is definitely better than a phone call. And I mean, deals are getting done. So.
Yeah, no, it's been great for us and our team just here in the office using it and, you know, doing interviews with people for internships and, you know, different things, just trying to, you know, you get that real interaction. It's like you said, there's some things that just have to be done face to face, but right now we're all, you know, trying to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah, no, well, I'm going to make sure I follow the success you're going to have building that thing up, man. I know you're going to do well there. I've seen you do great things in St. Louis. So when I saw you got that, I was like, yeah, they're going to be good. So
we better
congrats. Be. And if you ever need anything, give me a call, but thanks for joining me.
No, I appreciate it. And like I said before we chatted off air, you know, keep up the Friday things. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's a great service that you're putting out there for people. And like I told you, there's a couple people that have opened my eyes, and I think, you know, we'll be making some phone calls, but I think it's just, you know, that's what blew me away about coming to professional sports, how willing people are to share ideas. And I mean, I shared our budget with somebody that's looking to come into the league the other day, and we're going back and forth. Well, how can you do this? How can you do that? And I mean, at this level of sports, maybe not the major league it happens. I don't know. I haven't been there, but at these lower level sports, man, it's unbelievable. Just the information that gets shared and how to be creative, bringing in revenue during times like this. So that thing that you're doing on Fridays, it's awesome. Keep it up.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it.